Hello and welcome to Reroll. My name is Angus Morrison and I have some apologising to do. A string of minor illnesses, adjustment to a normal human work schedule and the unexpected appearance of a social life means it's been 3 weeks without a video, which isn't great. But I've not entirely forgotten you. There are already 2 interviews scheduled for February, review codes are winging their way towards me, and I have press passes lined up for Rezzed in March. And speaking of things that have been horribly delayed, I've put together a review of The Wolf Among Us Episode 2, Smoke and Mirrors. Fair warning, I see no way of avoiding one major spoiler, so if you don't want anything given away, close this window, stand up, and go play outside for a bit. Right, the show goes on. Finally. We know that Telltale's Walking Dead format lends itself to a variety of settings. We know that the premise of The Wolf Among Us is sound. We know that its fairy tale setting provides a lighter, but not less dark, alternative to the depression of The Walking Dead. We know this because I said so, and I'm a very wise individual. But for the unbelievers, there's 4 minutes and 15 seconds of justification in my review of Episode 1 here. So what I'm interested to explore in this review is not a simple, is it any good, but whether the storytelling is as sharp as it ever was and whether Telltale have been able to progress the story in interesting directions. There are concerns that with their Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, Borderlands and Game of Thrones series in production, Telltale, despite their big eyes and big teeth, have bitten off rather more than they can chew. Technically speaking, the writing is excellent. Reams of dialogue in what is essentially extended cutscene avoids becoming stale and hits the tone of natural conversation dead on. There are jokes woven into the environment too, low-key, bleak, but it's this sense of humour and comfort with its comic book heritage that makes me prefer The Wolf Among Us to The Walking Dead. But there's a jarring discontinuity between the episodes, as if the morality of the world has suddenly and inexplicably shifted. In episode 1 I had a merry old time beating perps to a pulp with my canine claws and no one batted an eyelid. In Smoke and Mirrors I give one prisoner a little tap on the head and suddenly I'm branded a sociopath. I mean, I am. But why the double standard? The familiar problem of dialogue options not translating into the expected speech also resurfaces, which results in... well, it results in this.
I'm sorry. I know it's dangerous, but I'm not helpless.
Didn't insinuate that you were! Fuck's sake.
I've been doing it for centuries.
In addition, there appears to be less game this time around. I mean, this is a Telltale game, you don't come for the gunplay and action sequences, but while you spend episode 1 investigating, interrogating and intuiting, Smoke and Mirrors likes to talk at you. Interactivity is sparse and even dialogue options are fewer than they were. But my biggest issue isn't with the game itself. The grumbling aside, I was thrilled to know more about Fabletown and pick up the story where episode 1 left off. The issue here is with the concept of a series itself. Episodic gaming has been a popular concept for a very long time, and there have been a number of high-profile attempts to get it to work. The idea is smaller gamelets released more frequently than the years an all-singing, all-dancing spectacular spends in production. And we've got the small bit down, but that whole more frequently thing is causing some issues. Telltale were doing an excellent job of it. The engine and mechanics they use are exceptionally versatile and receptive to plugging in new acting and assets without messing with the innards. The first season of The Walking Dead was released in its entirety within 7 months. The second episode of The Wolf Among Us alone has taken 4 months to appear. And that's a problem. This episode was well written and well acted. It was a touch out of step with the morality of episode 1 and limiting in the choices it gave you, but it was close to the quality we've come to expect from Telltale. It's also 2 hours long, and as much as I like a good cliffhanger, waiting 4 months between nanoservings is not at all satisfying. I want to engage with this series. I want more of what Telltale have got, but unless they get a handle on their schedule, interest will begin to wander.